Committee. My privilege to welcome aboard all office bearers, board of directors, chairpersons of various committees, and distinguished guests to IP webinar series session 15. I request all to please pay attention to the following webinar guidelines for a smooth session. The microphone and video has been switched off for the convenience of viewers. May request everybody to kindly keep them on mute mode and video on off mode to avoid any interference with the ongoing session. Request to rename to joining in as per the format. In case of queries, please drop a text at the bottom chat window. The webinar is being recorded for the benefit of our members. Q&A session will be in the end. Please type your questions in the chat window. We shall try to address your questions. So far, we have completed 14 successful sessions on various subjects, crossing over 3,000 man hours and an assorted set of skilled speakers. We have been brainstorming in selection of subject, selection of speaker, and the content. Hope we are meeting with your expectations and sharing enough knowledge and the content on various subjects. Dear friends, message from the leaders. Today we have a message from Mr. Arijit Sen Gupta. He's past president IRP and currently chairman of Cellular Committee. He's ex-managing director and CEO of Nico Park, a veteran leader, master who has served the industry for a quite a long time, 25 years. Let's hear what he has to say to us.
My dear colleagues, colleague brothers and sisters of amusement park industry fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm extremely thankful to IRP for giving me the opportunity to address you, all of you today. I'm Arijit Sen Gupta, and being a Bengali, I'm fondly called Dada, which means elder brother in this industry, with which I'm very closely attached for the last 25 years. I'm the ex-managing director and CEO of Nico Park, and at that time, I got the opportunity to deep dive into all the activities and all the disciplines this industry is very passionate. The industry is facing acute crisis due to unfortunate pandemic, of lockdown measures announced by the government, which affected this industry, particularly amusement parks, along with tourism and hotel industry, the most due to complete closure. We have yes, we have suffered very badly for the last several months, but we have to stand up again and start running fast to catch up with many opportunities that have newly opened up in front of us. We have to collectively show entrepreneurship skills to reinvent ourselves with new novelties and attract customers under present scenario, which is and going digital in a big way for the future. I'll briefly touch upon a few key points for amusement parks, water parks, indoor amusement centers, guide manufacturers to make my presentation. I have prepared a detailed SOP for occupational health and safety for the entire industry, their employees, their customers, and other stakeholders. My earnest appeal to you of saying wherever you distribute the responsibilities, each and every department head and implement same in totality and very minutely. This SOP has been prepared with explicit details.
Hello?
On same further. Very important issue at present. Since there was no income with fixed cost as it is, cash flow management of your company will be very crucial. You and your CFO must keep in close touch with your banks, consortium banks, for getting all COVID working capital loans, MSME loans being disbursed by government and also the tax refunds to overcome your cash crunch. Should always be alert and intelligently study and avail all moratoriums announced by the government on working capital interest, provident fund, GST, and other statutory dues. Number three, interact with your and other department. Brainstorm as a team how to control illegal downsize your organization, or if you are introducing pay cut to employees so that you remain a law-abiding organization always. So MSME turnover limits have been increased to 250 crores. Many of us will fall under this limit. Get yourself registered as MSME to avail various benefits it offers, particularly working capital loans and receivable payments within 45 days. MSME benefits list have already been circulated by IRP to all the members. 5. The ride manufacturers. Export opportunities are opening up in a big way, as India will be the preferred country now compared to the largest exporter from Asia. But mind you, export orders will not come and will not have autopilot landing into your lap, but you have to work for it. Increase your digital connection. But the important point is you have the time now to make your product export ready by following BIS and all other international standards to improve product quality, product finish, and packaging, etc. 6. For indoor amusement center ride manufacturers, we will suggest them to constantly innovate new product lines to attract children and adults alike, going digital and virtual both. It is internationally accepted fact that India is much advanced in IT knowledge and development. Hence, please collaborate with Indian IT companies to use artificial intelligence and Internet of Things, shortly called AI and IoT, for development of your new products. 7. Also, we should be alert and keep our minds open for getting into joint venture collaborations with international park owners and also the manufacturers, as many of them will look for investments in India for ease of doing business in India now. Our present chairman has already taken many proactive actions
Can't hear anything.
with the members by conducting webinars, webinar trainings, newsletters.
They have been there.
No.
Yes.
Please make it convenient. Attend all webinars. Many webinars have already taken place and many are on the pipeline on various relevant topics. 9. Lastly, I, being the chairman of Thriller Committee, would request you to please read various articles being written in Thriller magazine on various topics and disciplines by the experts in that line, which are extremely informative and educative and always covers relevant subjects on constantly changing scenarios. Share your Thriller copy with your senior management staff to keep them updated. I'll now conclude by advising you to stay safe, maintaining social distancing, stay committed for a good and bright future, which will now unfold before us. Wishing you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dada. We as normally call him for a very crisp, short message and a very well advised to all manufacturers and park operators about what to do in this moment of crisis. So, fellow colleagues, in today's session, we're talking about a session on best practices, amusement rides operation and maintenance. And for this, we have with us today Mr. Rajesh CR. Mr. Rajesh joined Wonderla Holidays Limited in the year 1998 as a mechanical engineer at Kochi Park, called Vigaland at the time, and became general manager in corporate engineering of the company year 2019. He's having expertise in handling both projects and operations of large-scale amusement parks. He spent last 22 years in amusement industry and actively participated in developing systems and procedures for operation and maintenance of land rides and water rides. As a technical expert, he established programs for installation, commissioning, refurbishment, and overhauling of amusement rides and attractions. He's also involved in design and execution of amusement parks and resorts. Over to speaker, Mr. Rajesh.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Rajesh. May we request you to kindly take over from here.
Thank you, sir.
Most welcome.
Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege for me to do this presentation for all IAP members. Today's topic is best practices for amusement rides, operation and maintenance. Thanks to IAP Chairman Ajay Sarin sir, Vice Chairman Rajiv Jalnapoka sir, Training Chairman Anuj Sarin sir, and Safety Chairman Pradeep Sharma sir, and all other managing committee members. I also extend my gratitude to our Managing Director Arun sir, Joint Managing Director Joe sir, and Wonderla Management and Leadership Team.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh, on behalf of everybody, and I may continue with the session, please.
Yeah. So today's agenda. Today's agenda is objective of best practices, then amusement ride safety standards, best practices for operation and maintenance, which is best to suit our industry, importance of best practices, and common causes for ride-related incidents. And the last one is best practices followed at Wonderla for better ride operation and maintenance. So coming to objectives, to promote safety. Safety is the foremost or the utmost thing for running an amusement industry. So to promote safety means we need to take care the safety of our employees as well as guests. The next point is to prevent incidents and injuries. Legal complaints. So in India, there is no separate government department to monitor safety of or any monitoring department for amusement rides. But still, we need to follow the departments like Pollution Control Board, Electrical Inspectorate, Factories Department. These are the common things which coming for the amusement industry standards. Then customer satisfaction and experience. That's also very important for amusement park. To running a business, customer without customer, the business running will be very difficult. So it's also very important for survival of a business. And one of the objectives I need to highlight here is to have all the amusement, all the IRP members to be in a same platform for maintaining safety. We'll go to the safety standards. So safety standards, first we have mentioned about the standards which are following globally. The first one is ASTM International F2291068, that is standard practice for the design of amusement rides and devices. The next one is followed in Australia, that is AS3533, amusement rides and devices design and construction. Malaysia is also having a standard guidelines for operation of amusement parks. China is having GB 18159. It is for coastal category. GB 8408 for large scale amusement rides, and GB 18158 for merry-go-round category. And Hong Kong is having a code of practice for amusement rides, and it is provided by Electrical and Mechanical Service Department under government. It is called EMSD. So the next point is the EN 13844. Why I have highlighted EN 13844? In India, most of the park operators are importing rides from European countries. So this standard is also very important to us. And most of the manufacturers from Europe follow this standard. So it is EN 13814, 1, 2, and 3. There are 3 parts. European standard for safety of amusement rides and amusement devices. The next is the global standard. It is ISO 17842. It's also having 3 parts: safety of amusement rides and amusement devices. In India, BA is following standard. It is code of practice for amusement ride safety. It is IS 15475. So as per the information we have, it will be this BIS 15475 will be soon updating to ISO 1842 standard. So let us go through what is 17842 says. So part 1 says about design and manufacture of amusement rides. The second one is called for the operation and use of an amusement ride. And the third one mentions about the requirements for inspection during design, manufacture, operation and use. So it says mainly about the inspection. That's okay, sir. So safety of amusement rides and amusement devices, ISO 17842. So the part 1 specifies the requirements to ensure the safe design, calculation, manufacture and installation of all mobile, temporary or permanently type of rides. For examples, we can see the roundabout swings, giant wheels, roller coasters, etc. comes under this. But coin operator games are not coming under this standard. And part 2 specifies the requirements to ensure the safe maintenance of the operation and inspection and testing of all these type of rides. And part 3, as mentioned, it is mainly for the inspection during design, manufacture, operation and use. So here we go through the best practices which need to be followed for the ride operation and maintenance. So the main thing is the selection of rides and attractions. Then second one is installation and commissioning of the ride, comprehensive operational manual, preventive maintenance program, training of ride mechanic, training of ride operator, incident reporting procedures, comprehensive emergency plan, record retention program, and integrated management system. So coming to selection of rides. So while selecting the ride should conform to the necessary standards and meet the requirement of the location where it need to be installed. So if we are buying a ride from abroad and it has to be installed in India, we need to check what are the parameters or the procedures to be followed to install and the requirements required to operate the ride in India. But in India, as discussed earlier, there is no special standard following now. Still, we need to ensure safety of the ride. So one more thing while selecting the rides, we need to check what is the guest preference of the particular location. So based on the guest feedbacks which we collected earlier, we'll be knowing the guest preference for a particular ride. That to be considered while selecting the ride. The next is the capacity, ride capacity, or how many people can be utilized or how many people can use that ride in an hour. That also to be considered. Then coming to power consumption, wind loads and weather conditions, this also to check before purchasing or selecting a new ride. And for selection of new rides, there are parties or inspection bodies to conduct testing, like TUV is one example. TUV used to verify the design and to conduct the site acceptance test and factory acceptance test. So factory acceptance test, FAT, it will be done at the manufacturer location, and SAT, site acceptance test, will be done at the install location. So I prefer all the parks to follow the same, to have a inspection body while select or before installation of the rides. It's better to have a proper inspection. And coming next is installation and commissioning of the ride. Inspection and testing of the ride prior to installation. So if there is an inspection procedure or an inspection body to check, or we can depute our own engineers or managers to the manufacturer and check the rides, whether rides has been done as according to standard we need and whether testing has been done. So some of the large scale ride, like a roller coaster, which cannot be tested at manufacturer location, it need a big foundation or the installation cost or the size of the ride, which are all need to check. Some of the rides can be tested and commissioned only at the our location where it need to be installed. Installation of commission of rides as per the manual along with proper records, including parameter monitor. Whenever we do installation commission, we should have all the records for commissioning. So commissioning should have a commissioning report. In addition to that, we should have a parameter monitoring. What are the parameters when the ride is installed? It has to be taken with no load and with load. So this will help us to monitor in future. If there is any variation for any parameter which we have recorded at the time of installation, that can be taken as a reference or as a benchmark, which will help us to do a proper troubleshooting of the ride in future. Then comes comprehensive operation manual. Manual should provide the information about the ride function, capacity, limitations if any, providing instructions for the safe operation and maintenance, and provide details of ride parts. So the ride operation manual tell everything about the ride. So what are the parts to be replaced periodically? What are the inspection to be carried out? What is the type of maintenance required? Whether any parts replacement or any extra additional inspection needed? That everything will be mentioned in the comprehensive operational manual. And there are some rides which need two operators. So two operators, one operator will be the main operator, and one operator will acknowledge or confirm the loading of a ride if the ride is sometimes may not be having a feedback mechanism for the shift lock. Example, some roller coaster and some towers are having this feature where the ride assistant or the operator assistant need to confirm. Based on that only, operator can start the ride. Then next is the preventive maintenance program. Preventive maintenance program should include daily pre-opening visual inspection by mechanics and operators, periodic inspection and testing of rides. So daily pre-opening visual inspection means all the rides to undergo a check as per the checklist before opening to public. So it will be done mainly by the mechanics, and the operator also need to do minimum checking like the ride surrounding, area cleaning, functioning of all the ride controls. Everything we need to check with the help of operators. Periodic inspection and testing of rides. So all the manual will be mentioning about what period, what test to be done. So the testing or the inspection, sometimes it will be weekly, monthly, once in 6 months, yearly. These are the common or standard procedures or schedules followed for inspection of rides. Breakdown analysis. So all the rides may have minor and major breakdowns. All the breakdowns to be recorded and need to have a proper analysis. So proper analysis will help us to avoid the similar issues in future and to have a quick troubleshooting without much downtime. Third-party inspections like NDT. NDT is non-destructive testing. So third-party support is required to do NDT, which includes ultrasonic inspection or thickness test. Then coming follow manufacturer's recommendation. All the recommendations from manufacturers to be followed. So while designing or supplying a ride, manufacturers then have some design calculation and the life of equipments or the periodicity of lubrication. Everything they might calculated and the ride has been designed. So all the operators or the partners to follow manufacturer's recommendation. Third party audit. Third party audit is done to ensure the safety of the ride. So there are a lot of inspection bodies from India. Other than that, there are TUV, which is from Germany. They are also into third party ride audit. Then maintenance records. So each ride should have proper maintenance records, which includes the log sheet, maintenance checklist, parts replacement list, lubrication log sheets. So all this data includes in maintenance records. Maintenance ERP module. So ERP module will ease our job. If there is proper data entry, we will get a lot of reports and previous data which can be retrieved in a systematic manner. So ERP module will help or ease the complication of maintenance and keeping records. So ERP module itself, it can give automatic schedules where the person or the engineers need to follow the schedules. Online troubleshooting by vendors. So new generation rides, there is a provision to connect internet to their location. If the supplier is from US or Europe, it's easy for them to access the ride and to do the troubleshooting. So this option is now available. So it is also better to follow this practice to have a quick troubleshooting rather than an engineer traveling from abroad. It will take more time and more money. So here we go about the type of maintenance. Anyway, this is common. Everybody will be knowing about the type of maintenance system. So maintenance can be basically classified into breakdown maintenance, corrective maintenance, and planned maintenance. So planned maintenance can be further classified as preventive maintenance and condition-based maintenance. That is called predictive. So if you are doing a corrective maintenance, so corrective maintenance will have once ever the issue pop up only we will be doing the maintenance. So it will have a downtime and a loss of spare parts. So the corrective maintenance is not at all recommended. So it is better to have maintenance. Sometimes corrective maintenance also not done, it will go to a major breakdown. So coming to planned maintenance, preventive maintenance to have a standard checklist, which may be daily, weekly or monthly, that we need to follow strictly and as per schedules. Condition-based maintenance. So condition-based maintenance is predictive. So if some parts replacement, it is to be done at so and so hours. For normally the compressors or screw compressors, there will be a time period to change the oil. So it will be mentioned normally for 2000 hours. So without checking that oil quality or everything, if the compressor is run for 2000 hours, we need to replace the oil. And as we saw in the bottom, there is an arrow. So once we are following the condition-based maintenance practice or preventive maintenance practice, automatically the failure rates will come down and downtime also will be reduced. So root cause analysis. So this can be used for breakdown analysis. So this can also be used for incident analysis also. So fishbone analysis and analysis are the two common analysis which is used among all the industries. So fishbone analysis done by a group of people where different options will be identified for different type of materials, methods, machines, man, measurements, and environment. And a group of people will sit and discuss and select most appropriate option from each of 6 category and identify the better one. And it will help us to analyze the problem very quickly. And next is YY analysis. YY analysis as a standard practice, 5 why is required. So any breakdown or any issues, if we are asking the question or the reason why it is happened, so we'll get an answer. And if the question is still open, we need to ask or again inquire what is the next reason. Like that, if you're doing with the 5 why, we will be getting what is the root cause for each issue. Then coming about to the training part, so there will be separate training program to be identified for ride mechanic and operators. So for ride mechanics, it has to be done accordance with the manufacturer recommendations and daily visual inspection what to be followed and periodic inspection what to be performed and how the ride functions. These all the things to be trained to the ride mechanic. He should know everything about this before going for duty to a particular ride. The most important the ride functions. If the person is not fully aware of the function of the ride, it can lead to an incident. So we all should be very careful before sending a mechanic or operator. We should have proper training to all the staff. Then training program for ride operator. Ride limitations. Do's and don'ts for the operator and guest. So sometimes guests also should follow some guidelines and operators need to follow some guidelines when the ride is under operation. One is they need to observe the ride thoroughly. All these things to be trained to the operator. Then how to deal with visitors. So visitors will have multiple behavior. So we need to train our team how to act based on each behavior. Dealing with defects and malfunction of the ride. If there is a defect observed or a ride malfunction, what action to be taken? Sometimes they need to correct themselves or sometimes they need to report to the concerned engineer or manager to take necessary actions. Reporting procedures for incidents. If an incident or malfunction happens, how to report it to the superior or how to report it to the concerned maintenance team to avoid the same in future. Safe operation procedure of specific ride bar attraction guest restrictions. Safe operation procedure. What are the procedure need to follow while operating the ride? What are the height requirements? everything to be trained to the ride operator. Safe loading and unloading of riders, importance of ride safety lock. So this is also very important. So what are the points to be taken care while loading and unloading of a rider? Sometimes the platform may be same level, sometimes the platform may be in different level. So what precautions need to be taken to have a safe operation or safe enjoyment for riders? And what is the importance of safety lock? We will have different type of safety lock for different type of rides. So what is the purpose of each ride? Some locks will have additional safety belt. What is the requirement of that? What is the benefit we are going to get if we are using that? Everything should be paid to the ride operator. Safety aspects of the park operations, including HSE knowledge. So HSE knowledge it is not only to the ride operator, it is applicable for all the staff. All the staff should undergo a thorough HSE training before going for the duty. The next is incident reporting procedures and investigation. This will help us to ensure that all employees report all incidents, including a near miss. These reports are viewed by management and appropriate corrective action to be taken by management. So all the incidents, if it is a near miss or any smaller incident also, it should report to the concern and it should be analyzed and proper action to be taken. And all the reports, all the incidents to be updated to management to have appropriate corrective action. Category of incidents. Category of incidents says about unsafe act and unsafe condition. Basically, this is the major classification. So unsafe act, an activity which is not as per the prescribed safety standard and which can cause or likely to cause accidents or risk. Guest behavior, not following procedures, etc. can be mentioned as unsafe act. If we are having a standard procedure for operation, if operator or a maintenance technician or any of the staff, if unable to or not following the procedure, it can be considered as unsafe act. And coming to unsafe condition, any condition or situation which can be electrical, mechanical, chemical or environmental, which increases the risk and danger of an incident. This is called unsafe condition. So all the incidents, while reporting incident, we need to classify whether it is unsafe act or unsafe condition. Based on that, we need to do the evaluation and corrective action. So here we go through the safety triangle. So safety triangle, the left side image, you can see 300,000 unsafe acts can lead to 300 near miss incidents if unsafe acts are not addressed properly. And the same way, 300 near miss incidents will lead to 30 minor incidents. And 30 minor incidents can lead to 1 fatality. So the right side image shows, the first image shows that's unsafe act. Second is a near miss. So it is, so we can see that on lifted load is above 2 people. The next is a minor incident and the item fell down, but there is no fatality or injury to the people. The next one is the fatality. So all the unsafe acts in near miss incidents, extra to be recorded, reviewed and corrective action to be taken to have a safe operation. And all the parks should have a comprehensive emergency plan. So comprehensive emergency plan should include ride evacuation procedures, rescue of trapped pattern scenery. If a guest is trapped in some ride at a height, what are the methods or procedures to be followed to bring down them? Provision of first aid. So all the parks should have a first aid facility. And how we address natural calamities. It can be wind, rain, earthquake, whatever it may be. And emergency assembly points. So based on the size of park, each park to have multiple emergency assembly points. If it's a small park, only one emergency assembly point is required. If it's a bigger park, it may need 2 or 3, and proper directions and signages are must to reach the emergency assembly point. And for all the emergency procedures. There should be a proper plan and to be prepared and practiced. Without practice, the procedures cannot be implemented whenever we do a mock drill or a real emergency situation. So what are the plans and procedures we prepared? We need to practice it regularly. The next is the record retention program. It is equivalent to a documentation. So the record retention program will allow the quick retrieval of all documents. So all the documents should have to be maintained with information in a suitable medium such as paper or electronic. Nowadays, most of the people they keep the records in soft copy or electronic form, but still we may have to follow some checklist which need a signature or a parameter entering, so which are can be maintained in paper. So maximum documents should be in electronic mode, which will help us for easy retrieval and safe data keeping, which will not consume more space. And up-to-date and adequate documentation to ensure effective operation. So all the data or the logs, which or the directions from the government or ride manufacturer or maintenance procedures need to be updated on time and it should be documented well. Integrated management system. So this will help an organization to standardize all the procedures and practices which are following in a particular organization to provide direction and guidance in the implementation of an effective ride safety management system. And integrated management system IMS combines all related components of a business into one system for easier management and operations. So QMS is for quality, that is ISO 9001. EMS Environmental Management System is ISO 14001, and Occupational Health and Safety ISO 45001 are often combined and managed as a integrated management system. So in Wonderla, we are having ISO 14001 and ISO 45001 certified. QMS is not being followed. So next is the importance of best practices. So when we follow best practices, the importance are to provide safe and memorable enjoyment for visitors, improve ride availability by reducing downtime of rides and equipment. So if we are having more downtime, we will be having more crowded, the crowd management will be difficult and customer satisfaction also will come down. If we follow best practices, we can improve customer service and customer experience to become more competitive by increasing sales, optimize our operating cost by reducing wastage, improving the quality of operation and efficiency. It will help us to improve the skill of employees and use technology more effectively, respond more quickly to innovations in amusement sector. These are the importance of best practices. So the next session, we will go through the causes of ride incidents. So some of the common causes which we have mentioned here for ride related incidents. One is poor design or construction. Sometimes the design will be good, construction may be poor. Sometimes poor design and construction may be good, but installation will be poor. So if we are having a ride imported as per EN or ISO standard, which follow all the standards for design and construction, and the installation which is happening from our side, if it is having a bad foundation or a wrong procedure installation, it will affect everything. So it can lead to an incident or an accident. Then inadequate supervision. So supervision is very important, starting from the unloading of the ride while installation, commissioning, and during operational maintenance. So supervision is a ongoing and continuous process which need to be ensured. That it also can cause incidents. Lack of secure safety locks. So all the safety locks to be as per the design and considering the speed of the ride. So if the safety locks are not properly designed or maintained, it can lead to incident. Size mismatch between guest and ride seats or safety lock. So most of the rides will be having the ride height or weight parameter which need to follow. If you are keeping a guest which is not suiting the correct seat size, it can lead to an accident. Intensity of motion and emotion. So intensity of motion. So all the rides will have different design criteria. Some of the rides will be having only automatic operation for guests. So automatic operation, there will be a set speed for the ride operation. And for manual checking, there will be another set of speed which can be tested only for manual, which is not suitable for operation to guest. So whenever we do, if the ride is designed for automatic operation, there will be certain speed standards which also can be followed, but we cannot test the people with high speed or manual motion. So intensity of motion and emotion also will relate to incidents if it is not properly followed. Riding or standing in unsafe position. So all the rides will have a sitting posture, or if some rides are in standing position, so there will be definitely a guidelines which need to be followed by the patrons or guests. Equipment failure due to inadequate maintenance or defective components. So ride failure can happen due to non-maintenance or due to some defective components. So how we can ensure the components? Components need to be tested or inspected periodically. So if you are not following that, it also will lead to an incident. Operator issues. Operator issues, it can be a maintenance technician issue also. If there is inadequate training, it can lead to an accident. And distract operators. Operators should follow the instruction of the procedures which they are given to them and what they need to do, their do's and don'ts while operating the ride. They need to follow. If they are distracted or not monitoring the ride, there are chances of incidents. Rides under the control of patrons. So some rides, maybe land rides, most of the land rides will be having full control from our side with safety locks or some other procedures. But water slides and go-karts, where we don't have any direct control and we work mainly with the procedures and instructions. So that is the full control of ride patterns. If ride patterns not following the proper procedures or instructions, it also can lead to the incidents. Then guest behavior. That's also very important. So most of the incidents happen in all the parks due to guest behavior, which includes horseplay, forced opening of lock. So people try to open the lock their own if it is locked by the operator or assistant. Trying to disembark from the ride before stopping the ride, jump over handrails. These are the common things where guest behavior affecting the incident. So coming into the main part, so operation and maintenance practices and procedures followed at Wonderla. So the first point is operational safety and maintenance, training of personnel and its effectiveness, guest management, incident reporting and investigation, emergency response and programs, communication, documentation and document audit, risk assessment and management, ride safety management system. So we'll go through operational safety. Standard operating procedures and instructions are in place for all ride operation related activities, which include the following. So for all the ride operation procedures, we are having separate procedures and we are following the same. Operation checks for pre-opening and during ride operations. So what are the checks to be conducted by an operator before opening the ride and what he need to follow during the ride operations? There are certain rides which need to be monitored or checked in between the operation. That also will be explained and trained to the concerned operator. Detailed ride operation procedures. So ride operation procedures will mention about the functions of each control switch, how a ride perform, what is the safety envelope of the ride. So these all things will be included in ride operation procedures, including the do's and don'ts by operator and ride assistant. Then comes ride unloading and loading procedures. So that also will be explained. What are the parameters to be followed? What are the precautions to be taken? Sometimes there will be a gap between the ride and the platform. So what care to be taken while embarking and disembarking the ride? So if any marking required, that also we are providing at the platform to have a proper visibility while embarking and disembarking the ride. For guest management, so guest management says about how the guest can be directed smoothly to the ride, what and all the guests to be followed, how many numbers can be allowed in a ride. So based on that, the proper control to be taken. So we don't want to send extra people and then call back the people again. So that and all will affect the guest service. Then emergency handling and incident reporting. So this covers what are the emergencies that can occur during a ride operation. It can be emergency stoppage or a malfunction. So these all things to be trained to all the operators. Then comes the maintenance. So preventive maintenance, what followed in Wonderla. So we are having preventive maintenance program, which is done daily, weekly, and monthly schedules are followed. So daily, it's mostly a visual and some critical inspection done by a technician, and it is doing almost 2 hours minimum for some rides, and some bigger roller coasters need 4 hours, and where a quick ride need only 1 hour. So it will be done as per a standard checklist where the operator or the technician need to go through each point and the conformity to be given. An engineer will verify the same. Then only it will be given for operation if all the parameters are satisfactory. If any one of the points is not satisfactory, the ride will not be operational on that particular day. It will be operational only after rectifying the issue. Next is lubrication schedule. Lubrication schedule is mainly followed for greasing, which is also a monthly activity. So how many greasing points are there? What are the type of grease to be applied? There may be different grease for open gears and for bearings. So which grease to be applied for what purpose? That also will be clearly mentioned in the SOPs. And oil replacement is also a part of lubrication schedule. Oil lubrication normally done in every year for the gearboxes. And for hydraulic systems, it is done based on condition. So we are following a online and offline filtration system, which will be done periodically, and proper monitoring will be done for checking the oil quality. Based on the oil quality, we decide the frequency of oil filtration, and if the replacement required, that also will be done based on the inspection. Annual and overall maintenance. And whatever we follow, all the rides will undergo annual maintenance in every year. And overall maintenance normally done within 2 to 3 years. In annual, it's done by a group of people, and it will be detailed checking. And one more thing I missed out in the monthly schedule. That's also detailed checking done by electrical department and mechanical department together and in detail. That also takes almost 4 hours for a ride. So coming back again to oral maintenance is a detailed or it's a dismantled condition ride will be inspected. So almost all the major parts will be dismantled in the oral maintenance, and detailed inspection will be carried out. The next is NDT. NDT is carried out every year for all the critical components. So all the critical components will undergo UT, MPT, or which is the suitable procedure, it will be undergoing NDT. Parameter monitoring and calibration, that is also done yearly. So we are also having a parameter monitoring checklist, which will provide what is the standard measurement and what is the observed measurement. If there is a variation, what is the permissible variation which can be accepted? If the deviation is more, what action to be taken? That we are having separate procedure for that. Then safety lab, gap check, and annual service. So all the critical rides, so the safety logs gap, where there is a standard gap kept for all rides, which are being monitored on monthly basis. So there will be dimensions, both X and Y directions, which will be recorded as per standard, and that has to be monitored, and that is being monitored and corrected on monthly basis. And annual service of safety log. It is also a detailed, yeah. Is it for parameter monitoring or safety lock? Safety lock. Okay. So parameter monitoring. So it will be done with a parameter monitoring checklist. So all the standard values will be recorded in the checklist and it will be monitored periodically. And if any variation is occurred, so there will be a standard value as well as measured value. If the variation is acceptable, it will be accepted. If the deviation is more, the corrective actions to be taken to make it standard. And calibration of pressure gauges, pressure relief valves, everything is done on annual basis. And calibration of measuring instruments also. Hope it is clear. Anuruddh sir?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. So next is safety log gap check. So safety log gap check is done for all the critical rides. So safety log standard measurements will be taken initially in both X and Y direction, which will be monitored on monthly basis. So all the gap, there will be a permissible allowance. If the allowance is more, it has to be rectified on immediate basis. And all the safety log mechanism, which are all high thrill rides, it will undergo an annual service where all the parts will be dismantled. And if the manufacturer recommends any replacement of parts, which includes pins or bushings, that also will be replaced. And all the critical parts will go NDT in this case also. Ride safety audit is being followed in Wonderla. We are following three type of ride audits. One is done by external party. Normally we depend upon TV Node or TV Sud. So they used to come every year and it's done on selective rides. And we are having intra branch audit where the same department people will inspect the ride and do the safety audit. And we are having inter-branch ride audit where the one of the branch will do, if it is Bangalore team will be doing the ride audit at Cochin, or Cochin team will be doing at Hyderabad. Like that we are having inter-branch ride audit. And all these audit documents will be recorded and shared with the top management. Here comes ride commission report. So this ride commissioning report is different from the commission report which we use at the time of installation commissioning. This is exclusively for annual and overall maintenance and for major breakdown. If a ride has gone major breakdown or annual maintenance or all maintenance, after testing, there will be a ride commission report to be signed by department heads of electrical and mechanical. After their confirmation only, the ride will be given to guest. The next is cart service. Cart service includes the service of cars. It can be bumper cars or water splash cars, roller coaster trains. All these things will undergo a service based on schedule. So the roller coaster and all. Hello.
Yeah, I think your presentation not being shared. Can you just start sharing again?
Is it visible?
Yeah, please continue.
Okay. So cart service, it's based on schedule and type of rides. Some rides will go only once in a year. Some rides where there are more water content like water splash, or it may go once in 6 months or once in 1 year. And the roller coaster trains will go every year, full checkup, including the NDT. Then history cards of rides. This also we are following for all rides and major equipments. History cards will have the details if there is a part replacement or a major repair in welding. All these things will be recorded in history card. In addition to support this history card, we are having a ride complaint register and the log or the checklist remarks of daily, monthly, and annual. So for this maintenance, for ensuring safety, we are following a work permit system. A work permit system is a formal system stating exactly what work is to be done, where and when. The people doing the job need to sign the work permit to show that they understand the risk and precautions necessary. And PPUs need to wear while doing this activity. So the engineer or the safety officer who issue the work permits will clearly explain what are the requirements or what are the PPEs they need to follow, what are the procedures or the points to be taken care while doing that work. If it's a confinement space or it's a hot work, there will be specific activity mentioned for each work permit. Then lockout tagout is a safety procedure used to prevent the accidental activation of hazardous energy or machines. So we are following LOTO for all the maintenance activities. So it will be addressed when a work permit is issued based on the type of work. A LOTO also will be issued. Sometimes if two departments are working together, there will be separate LOTO for each department. After removing both the LOTO only, the system or the ride will be operational. So, say work permit system says about the PPEs, LOTO requirements, and the procedures, the points to be taken care while doing the work. Non-destructive testing, that is NDT, is a testing and analysis technique used by industry to evaluate the properties of a material, component, structure, or system for characteristic differences or welding defects and discontinuities without causing damage to the original part. So, physical inspection and thickness test, that is also a part of NDT. The main types of NDT which we can classify are ultrasonic testing, magnetic particle testing, liquid penetrant testing or dye penetrant testing, radiographic testing. Where ultrasonic testing is mainly used for shaft and pins, which will be done by a third party, and magnetic particle test also will be done by a third party. So it is normally required to do or to do the checking of surface cracks of shaft and pins and weldings. So this is the area where magnetic particle testing is followed, and radiography is slightly complicated and harmful. So it has to be done with more care, and it is normally done for critical welding areas and the parts which are having complicated shapes where we cannot use a magnetic particle testing or ultrasonic probe, which is not suitable for that item. Then only we will be doing radiographic testing. And dye penetrant or liquid penetrant test. So dye penetrant test is anybody can do if with a minimum training. Any of our own technician can do. So we are also following the same. Our in-house technicians are doing liquid dye penetrant testing, and other tests are being done by external parties. Radiography is done very rarely based on the criticality or need of the requirement, and it is slightly expensive also. So here you can see this sheet is our ERP, Enterprise Asset Management sheet. We are following or we are using an Oracle based asset management system. Asset management system. So here you can see some details about the type of work, or all the rights or equipments are listed under assets, where work order will be created for each type of work. So the type of work will be mentioned, how many man hours, what are the materials used, and you will get a report for each activity based on rights or on work orders. So we can get the reports based on the spare parts also. How many spare parts is used for particular ride? What is the man hours used for particular ride? So everything can be retrieved from the ERP EAM, that is Oracle based asset management system. Anyway, our checklist are not under this ERP Oracle asset management system. We are following manual checklist. Slowly we will be moving to digital checklist in the coming year with scheduling also. Scheduling also done outside the asset management system. Next is training and its effectiveness. So we are following training for the maintenance crew, ride operators, ride assistants, and all other departments also. And there is a method or a procedure to check the effectiveness by the effectiveness of the training by HR department. For actually for each and every training, the effectiveness will be monitored by the HR department, and necessary feedback will be given to the trainer for improvements. So separate training program is done for maintenance crew, which includes understanding the ride functions, risk assessment of the ride, and the preventive maintenance procedure. So the training program for ride maintenance crew includes understanding of ride functions, instruction on the preventive maintenance procedure of dealing with the defects. If a defect occurred, what they need to follow, and malfunctions. If there is a malfunction or emergency situation arising of the ride, what a maintenance engineer or technician or engineer need to follow. Instruction on regular inspection. What are the regular inspections to be done? Functional testing. Any test to be conducted in the ride before opening to guests or in the during the preventive maintenance program. And briefing of on assigned duties and roles. So what are the roles and responsibility of each person, whether it's the operator or maintenance, all person duties and responsibility will be trained and explained to all the concerned staff. Training program for ride operators include instruction on pre-startup operational ride checks, instruction on ride operation procedure, knowledge of use and function of all normal and emergency operating controls, which are controls to be operated by operator. That function of each operating controls will be explained to the operator. Proper use of ride, procedure to close the ride in case of adverse weather, or what to do for emergency situation. The next is training program for ride assistance. Ride assistance, we are providing the training which includes instruction on loading and unloading of guests, instruction on passenger restrictions such as height or any weight limitations, controlling of waiting area, operating passenger restraint system, that is the safety locks. What is the importance of safety lock? How to use, how to check, how to close, how to open, everything we explained. In addition to this, all the employees will undergo guest relations training. So how to improve our customers' experience. So there will be guest relations training, which will be conducted for all employees, including the maintenance staff. Guest management. A comprehensive system is in place at Wonderla for managing the guest services to provide a better guest experience in amusement rides. So right side you can see some images, which is the visual instructions and the pictorial representation. So aspects of guest management for ride safe usage, criteria for ridership. So some rides will have height and weight restrictions. Anyway, age limit is not being followed in Wonderla. We follow height and weight restrictions. That will be clearly mentioned at the entry of the each ride. Queue management. So all the operators and ride assistants are trained to handle guests and to direct guests in an orderly manner to the ride loading area, so that road loading can be done safely and the cycle time can be optimized. So if there is a delay in loading, or if more people allowed and again call back, it will affect the cycle time of the ride, which will in turn affect the throughput or the ride capacity, theoretical capacity which we have planned, that will come down due to this. And definitely it will affect the guest service. Then forewarnings, it's called signage. So signage includes, as mentioned earlier, it is a visual signage. It can be printed instructions and verbal instructions. So verbal instructions we follow in all rides, especially the water rides. It is being followed more because it is full control of the riders. So they may open their hands, leave the hands from the tube while riding. So these are all mainly given through verbal instructions while loading. Behavior spotting and intervention. This is also one important thing. So the operators or the ride assistants need to monitor the acceptable and unacceptable behavior of each guest throughout the ride and also in queue area. Sometimes the queue area also people will start queue jumping or bypassing the queues. So that also to be monitored by the ride assistant and to give necessary instructions and guidance to guests to follow the procedures to have a safe enjoyment at our park. Incident reporting procedures and investigation. Incident reporting procedures and investigation process is applicable to all rides and also to OHS incident reporting. And there is an investigation, corrective action, and its effectiveness monitoring is also there. So all the incidents are reported. If there is a near miss or a small minor incident also, it will be reported and investigated. Based on the type of incident, it will be sent for investigation. Or if any corrective action is only required, that corrective action will be taken and the effectiveness will be monitored periodically. Incidents are mainly classified into injury, ill health, illness, and near miss. While preparing the incident report itself, we will categorize the type of incident or classify this incident according to the injury, illness, ill health, or near miss. And all the injuries to be scaled based on severity and necessary actions to be taken to avoid the same in future. So in our case, the rating is start from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, where the ill health or illness will come under 1 and 2, and 3, 4, 5 will be based on the severity scale. Investigation process to be carried out based on the incident report and to be submitted to top management. So based on the type of incident, investigation will be carried out and it will be submitted to top management. And all the incidents will be taking the corrective actions and the effectiveness we are ensuring periodically. So here you can see the first investigation report or first information report is a FIR, which we are following for all incidents, including near misses. So there will be a brief about the ride incident, what are the reasons, who are all involved, who are the witness, everything will be mentioned here. And this will be circulated with the concerned department, HSC department, that is safety department, and the park heads. And based on this, it will be circulated to the top management based on the need. So once the FIR is prepared, if there is an investigation needed based on the type of incident, we'll be going with IIR. So this is called IIR, Incident Investigation Reports, where a lot of points will be checked. There are a lot of checkpoints to be done to understand the issue. And here we are following YY analysis. So YY analysis we are following for breakdown analysis as well as for incident analysis. We are following YY analysis. The next is emergency response and program. The emergency response program consists of the following components. So we are identified all the potential emergency situations. So it is done by a team of people, which includes engineers, managers, other department people, technicians, ride operators. Establishing and implementing emergency response procedures. So all the identified emergencies will have a response procedure. So it is a written procedure which will be recorded and it will be accessible to all the required people. And there is an emergency response team. So it's called ERT. So if there is an emergency required, based on the type of emergency response team to be involved. Emergency response training, which is done periodically. There is separate emergency response equipment kept in place. These equipments and tools, which will not be used for any other purpose, it will be under an ERT room and it will be taken only for emergency response, not any other activities. Then periodic testing and mock drills. So all these emergency procedures or the responses prepared, which will be tested periodically. Mock drills will be conducted within the department and including other department to check the effectiveness. And all the mock drills will be reviewed. What are the outcomes, whether it may be positive or negative, that will be reviewed. And all, if required, the emergency procedures will be revised on periodical basis. The next is communication. The organization should establish, implement, and maintain procedures for effective communication. So first is internal communication among the various levels and functions of the organization. So here we are having both vertical and horizontal, and vertical also having both upward and downward. So the downward communications mainly for the maintenance and operators will be mainly the procedures, SOPs are instructions which need to be followed for ride operation and maintenance, and any other procedure for the equipment maintenance. And upward communication normally starts from the operators or maintenance to the engineers and to the top management, passing through the HODs. So it will include the improvements needed in the system, or it can be a near miss or observations what they found while operating the ride or doing the maintenance. This will be an upward communication. Then communication with guest. So all the technical or the ride background will not be communicated to guest. If the guest needed, so it has to be approved by the park head, and based on the approval, concerned department will give the necessary required information to guest based on need. The next is external. So receiving, documenting, and responding to relevant communications from external parties such as ride manufacturers, designers, and authorities. So we may receive or we need to submit reports to manufacturers or designers and also to government authorities like electrical inspectorate, factories department, or pollution control board. So all these communications to be well documented and submitted to the concerned. Documentation audit. The organization should establish and maintain procedures for controlling all relevant documents and data. So we are following procedure to have all the documents in place, which will be maintained on time and recorded properly, and also audited by the audit team, maybe intra-audit or enterprise audit, it will be audited. So we are having a document safety policy. Safety policy is also linked with our HSE policy, the IMS policy. So that will be shown in the coming sheet. Hazard identification and risk assessment record. So this will be done for all the rides, equipments, and for the entire park. So rides and equipments also be done, and the entire park also will be covering for this hazard identification. All the hazards will be identified, and risk assessment will be done based on the rating. If there is a corrective action required based on the type of or the rating, corrective action will be taken. And legal register. So there is a legal register maintained for which are the documents to be maintained for submitting the government authorities as per the legal requirement. Then operation and maintenance manual are available for all the rides, which will be mentioning about the type of maintenance and operation procedure that will be detailed in the manual. Engineering drawings, which includes foundation and structural drawings. So whenever we buy or import rides, so the design, foundation design will be done by us or done by with the help of consultants from India. So all these foundation and structural drawings will be kept under our custody. It also includes the pneumatic circuits, electrical drawings, and hydraulic circuits. That all drawings also to be are maintained. Operation and maintenance records. So operation records includes the logbook for rides and equipments. Maintenance records includes the checklist for monthly, weekly, or annual, whatever it may be. And there are some parameter monitoring also. These all records are being maintained. Training records for all employees are maintained under HR. As mentioned, the feedback or effectiveness also will be checked by HR. Inspection and audit records. All the inspection, there will be detailed report from the auditee. All the audit records will be maintained with corrective action and will be submitted back again to the auditor and to top management. And the actions which are taken will be explained well with images. Incident and investigation records. So we are also following incident and investigation records as mentioned earlier. That document also is being maintained. Emergency response program, procedures and program, all mock drills are recorded and corrective actions or reviews also are being recorded. Risk assessment and management. Hazard identification and risk assessment plan has been established, which include the following. So for like hazard identification and risk assessment, we are also having aspects and impact register, which is an environmental management system requirement. So all the environmental hazard also being identified similar to hazard identification and assessment procedure. There also will be assessment will be done on the rating and corrective actions will be taken. Sometimes it may be operation control procedures. Sometimes it may be the changing of system. Then we also have a risk assessment committee, which covers a team that include a manager of the ride, the person in charge of the ride, mostly an engineer, and one staff from mechanical, electrical, and operation. So electrical engineer is also a part of the risk assessment committee, in-house risk assessment committee. So the minimum number required is 7. And if the committee feels some additions are required, it can go up to 10. That is the system we are following. For all the risk assessment, proper method is being used, and there is a risk assessment report based on the rating. Implementation of control measures for all the assessed risk. If there is a control measure required, that is done, and regular review of risk assessment. So right side image, we can see the risk management process. Identify the risk, assess the risk, control the risk, and review the controls. So periodically we need to review the controls to have a effective risk management system. So how to do risk management control? When determining controls or considering changes to existing controls, the organization to consider the following hierarchy to manage the risk. So this is a risk assessment control, risk management control. So you can see a triangle, inverted triangle, where the left side you can see the effective. So the first one is elimination. If one risk is found, if it can be eliminated, that is the most effective method to implement control. The next is substitution, whether we can do another procedure or method to substitute the risk or substitute the procedure if elimination is 100% not possible. The next is engineering control. So engineering control likely, so we can set an example for the right. Most of the idle rights will have limit switches and sensors. So all these sensors will be having interlocks. So the interlocks will come as engineering controls. Administrative controls can be signages or safety railings, and PPE normally for our staff. For guests, the PPE may not be effective. So guest it may be the safety lock mechanism to provide them maximum safety while riding. So here the rider safety management system we are following in Mandala. So Mandala safety manual covers all the said aspects which we discussed now. And HSE policy, that is also our safety policy, covers the guidelines as per EMS, Environmental Management System, ISO 14001, 2015, and OH&S ISO 45001, 2018. As mentioned earlier, we are not following QMS, that is 9000, we are not following. So these are the things we follow. So it's coming almost end of the presentation. So dedicating for all Indian amusement parks with an objective of 0 incidents. So I'm dedicating this presentation to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you so much. On behalf of IIP, I thank Mr. Rajesh for sharing such insightful and profound knowledge, and hope that the guests have taken away handy and proficient information and would take full advantage from the efforts taken by the speaker in compiling and sharing best practices on mechanical maintenance, safety. Sincere gratitude to you, Mr. Rajesh. Our viewers are eagerly waiting with their questions to be answered. So I'll start off with the first question. First question is from Mr. A. Bhaskar. He says, expand HSE knowledge. Can you just elaborate a bit more on HSE knowledge?
Health, safety, and environment is HSE.
Yeah.
So we are having a procedures and systems in place to ensure health of all employees, staff, and guests are being taken, and the procedures to protect the environment. So this includes the HSE.
Okay. So moving to the next question. That's from Mr. Utkarsh. As per EN 13814, is there any standard regarding within how much time a ride evacuation should happen in case of emergency?
Sir, it depends on the type of emergency. So in Wonderla, we are having different emergency scenario, so which is recorded. So each type of emergency is having its own procedure. Sometimes the emergency recovery will be done by an operator. Sometimes it can be done with the help of engineer. Sometimes it may need more team members. Based on the type of emergency, each procedure is prepared and kept ready, and periodic mock drills are conducted to ensure that the timing not exceeding our standards.
Can you just elaborate on, is there any, his question is basically, is there any timing specified as per EN 13814? So can you just elaborate on that part again?
Sir, EN 13814, I have not seen both ISO I have gone through. There is no particular timing or duration mentioned for emergency evacuation procedure.
Yeah, so I'll vouch it for that. I don't think there is no specifications given for time bounding
Yeah.
on any standards. I'll take in the next question. If ISO 17842 is made as a part of government regulations to follow compulsorily, based on the current standards followed in major parks in India, will it be feasible for them to revamp entirely to adhere to the standards?
So anyway, if you are following the standards, if you are following EN 13814, or if you are following in European standards while importing the rights, so migrating EN to ISO is a very minimal task. But whatever the rights which is manufactured in India, if the design is not suitable or not meeting with the requirements of ISO requirements, definitely we need to modify it. So mainly it specifies about the type of seat, type of lock, what are the clearance required for a ride between the railings, if the based on the type of ride, speed of ride, and type of safety lock used. So it's a detailed standard. So there may be a requirement to modify the rights based on requirement. Each right need to assess based on the standards, and we may have to revamp.
Yeah, I'll just further add to it, Mr. Utkarsh, because EN 13814 or ISO 17842, there's difference in both. Yes, minor modifications are there which need to be taken care of. So I'll go to the next question. How can parks cope up with this challenge? Definitely, they'll have to work out on that. There's no way out.
Yes, yes.
So I'll be taking the next question. That's Mr. Govind. Let me trace his question once, please. Yeah, is there any technical certification program available in the industry?
Certification program means it's for a training or inspection.
Certification program for training probably he says, but I don't think there is any program available in the industry as such.
No.
It's self-bounding, whatever training program, as you can see in the details of Wonderla, they have made their own training program. So one has to design their own training programs according to their requirements or the rights they have. Yeah, so next question I'll take in is from Mr. Sohan. Shall we go for preventive maintenance for the wire ropes replacement if the ropes are perfectly fine after 1 year, or can be used on condition-based monitoring as it affects the maintenance budget directly?
So replacement of wire ropes.
Yeah.
So replacement of wire ropes, there are multiple category. So based on the type of ride, there are replacement schedules already designed. When the ride is designed, so the number of cycles will be designed for the rope replacement. If there is no visible damage of the rope also, if the manufacturer recommended any cycles, that has to be replaced based on the ride cycles. There may be some fixed ropes for the guy rope or used for any trolley movement that can be inspected with NDT, like there will be dimensional verification. So normally the rope will elongate year by year. The dimension has gone down the more than the required standard, then the rope to be replaced. Otherwise, the rope replacement, if the ride manufacturer recommended based on cycles, we need to strictly follow the cycles.
Yeah. So there is basically two aspects. One is the diameter of the rope. In case elongation, definitely the diameter would reduce. And second is the number of strings which have come out of the wire rope. So
Yes.
those two standards need to be followed. I
Yeah.
think. That's an interesting question. Grease and again from Mr. Sohan, grease and lubrication shall be used as recommended by manufacturer. Generally, the rides supplied by Europe, they suggest the costly grease or the vendor is generally in Europe, or we can use other brands with same properties. It also affects the maintenance cost.
So we are also following same thing. So whenever we buy the or import the rides, the manufacturer recommends the standards which is available in Europe. But equivalent brand or equivalent specification is available in India, where the price will be cheaper. But we cannot change the specification or grade of the grease which is recommended by the manufacturer. So there are now the expensive grease which is normally recommended by Europeans are for the external gear teeth grease. Now it is available in Mobile and Shell in India, where Mobile is cheaper than Shell. So all the equivalent grease are available in India. We can speak with the Indian manufacturers like HP, Indian Oil, whatever it may be. So they will also have equivalent greases. And lubrication is the issue is we cannot mix different type of lubricants. So the replacement when we are replacing from one brand to another, the entire quantity to be replaced. That's a best practice followed. So whenever we replace, can replace switch over to the Indian conditions. And one more thing, the viscosity mentioned by Europeans, it is considered based on the temperature of their operating conditions. So in India, the temperature is slightly more. So the viscosity grade can be changed to the next higher level after discussing with the manufacturers. If it is 46, it can go up to 68.
Yeah, that is what exactly I was about to add in. According to the weather conditions you are living in, you have to select in the grease or the lubricant, whatever you're using in according to the temperature. And very well said by Mr. Rajesh. Whenever you're changing in a lubricant, kindly change it in one go. You have to wash out the old lubricant. Do not mix two lubricants ever together. So next question again is from Mr. Rajesh. How about the torquing of the right bolts, especially of the main sluice ring? If the marking of the torque is perfectly fine, shall we also check with applying the torque? If yes, then shall we apply the same torque as suggested by supplier, or we can check the torquing with slightly less torque value?
So normally the torque is recommended by the manufacturer or the slow bearing manufacturer or from the ride manufacturer. So the torque rating will be given in all the slow bearing manuals and the ride manuals. The torque rating normally will be done 10% less than the required. Hello? Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay, okay. So, yeah.
Repeat.
So,
Yeah, there's some.
yeah, so the torque value will be torque rating. Yeah, torque rating will be mentioned by rider manufacturers as well as the slow bearing manufacturers. What is the torque required? And the torque ratings are also available in by different bolt manufacturers. So the recommended torque rating, what is recommended in the chart, we should apply only 10% less than the required torque. And while tightening a slow bearing, it should be done with a multiple torque level and in a staggered manner to ensure that the first bolt is not more tightened. So uniformity should be maintained while tightening the torque. Is it clear?
Mr. Rajesh, and from Mr. Rajiv. Rajesh, your present. Girish, any accidents or how did you resolve the challenges? Many thanks.
So there were minor incidents. So as I mentioned earlier, if there is an incident occurred, we need to investigate. If it is unsafe act, the corrective actions will be taken to ensure that it is not repeated from the guest side. If it's an unsafe condition, it is a condition which need to be corrected from our side. Definitely, all the incidents based on the type of incidents, investigations are carried out, corrective actions are being taken, and it is reviewed periodically to ensure it is not happening again.
Thank you. I'll take another question from Mr. Jude Montario. Kindly share your opinion on the inventory of spares to be maintained. Are there any parameters?
So parameters, if you are telling, the main thing is the critical spare parts, which should not affect the ride availability. So that type of spare parts need to be maintained at inventory, irrespective of the cost. And all inventory to have a minimax, that minimum and maximum order level, to ensure the minimum availability of spares and not to overstock the materials. And spare parts which need more time, maybe import. So slew bearings and gearboxes which we need to import, it may take a minimum 2 to 3 months. So that type of item, based on the periodicity of replacement, we need to keep in stock.
So I'll take in two more questions. The second last one being from Mr. Sharad Saroop. Do you have any procedure when the technician has to check the ride in running and he has to be present in the ride envelope?
Yes, so we are having a safe operation procedure. I hope I already mentioned what are the requirements or what are the do's and don'ts to be followed. The operator and technician should know the exact ride envelope other than the handrail. Now, the handrail ride envelope is mainly provided for the guest. In addition to that, if the checking is there, the ride technician and operator should know the exact ride envelope required for the particular ride before testing or inspection. And lotto is another case. If the ride has to be tested and if somebody is working on the ride, the lotto is a must.
Thank you. So the last question I'll take in is that's again from Mr. Sharad Sarup. What situation do you consider as an abnormal evacuation and ERT has to involve?
So as mentioned earlier, it's based on the type of emergency. So there may be, so the minor emergency, I can tell the safety locks are not opening. It's a minor emergency situation. So where the operator is helpless to evacuate the guest, so he may need a support from a maintenance guy. That's a minor emergency. So if you are taking a major emergency, if the ride stopped at a location which is other than the home position, so where he needs support from other team members to bring down the ride if the power or the system is not working. So that is a major emergency. So that also we are having procedures in place to recover. What are the procedures to be followed? What are safety to be taken care while doing the manual evacuation of the ride?
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh, for the insightful details which you have given to us for operation and maintenance of rides and attractions. I hope the guests have taken away nice notes on it. And I'm very sure that in case the rides are maintained at the best possible way, the question mark of incident or accident would be zeroed down to the minimal possible and will definitely benefit the industry as a whole. Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. On behalf of IRP, I'd like to thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. So if anybody is having further questions, you can reach out to me. My contact details are available with IRP. So you can reach out to IRP and contact me directly if any further queries required on this presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. So further going ahead with it, so we'll the next session we have a session on conflict management. As we know that we are passing through difficult times, and during this time definitely conflicts between the management and the staff, or the management itself or the staff itself would have come up. So we have Mr. Abhikendu Gupta from Wet and Joy, the Magic Mountain Amusement Park. he'll be taking up the session. The session will be on 13th of July. And as you all are aware of that, we have already moved on from to WebEx now. So numbers and a platform where ideas, knowledge, and stay home. Safe. Thank you again.